Order. Questions to the Prime Minister. Julian Smith.
Number 1, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the House will wish to join me in paying tribute to Kingsman Darren Deedy from the 2nd Battalion, the Duke of Lancaster Regiment, who died on Friday after being injured in Helmand Province on the 23rd of August. We are forever indebted to him for the sacrifice that he has made. We send our sincere condolences to his family, his friends and his comrades, who all miss him very much. He will not be forgotten. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in the House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Julian Smith.
I add my sympathies to those of the Prime Minister. At a time when we need to maximise growth and restore our public finances, isn't it the height of irresponsibility that the unions are planning to go on strike? And shouldn't former ministers be ashamed of themselves for encouraging it?
I have to say, my honourable friend makes a very good point. Everyone in this country, the trade unions included, know we have to cut public spending, we have to get the deficit down, we have to keep interest rates down, and it is the height of irresponsibility for shadow ministers opposite to troop off to the TUC and tell them it's all right to go on strike. They should be ashamed of themselves.
The Leader of the Opposition, Harriet Harman.
Mr. Speaker, may I join the Prime Minister in paying tribute to Kingsman Darren Deedy from the 2nd Battalion, the Duke of Lancaster's Regiment. We honour his bravery and we think of his family and friends as they mourn their loss. Can I give my condolences to the Prime Minister and his family on the loss of his father? The words he used to express his love for his father touched everyone. Today, as we welcome the Prime Minister back to his place, I'd also like to congratulate him and Mrs Cameron on the birth of their new baby. Mr. Speaker, can I ask about an issue which is of great concern on all sides of the House? The trafficking of women and girls for sex. This week, a gang was convicted here in London for bringing girls, some as young as 13, to this country to be sold for sex. The work of the police and prosecutors has protected young women from this gang, but this evil trade is growing. All parties in this House are united in their abhorrence of it. Can I ask the Prime Minister to update us on the work that's being undertaken to stop it?
Can I first of all thank the Honourable Lady not only for what she said about the servicemen that we lost from Afghanistan, but also the very kind words she said about my father and also about our new daughter. I'm very grateful for what was said last week by the Shadow Lord Chancellor and also the letters I've received from members right across the House. It is very touching and heartwarming that people think about you at times like these. So thank you for that. Can I also take the opportunity, as this is, I think, the last time we will face each other across the dispatch box. She's the 3rd Labour leader that I've had to do battle with. I think she's by far the most popular, which is, and she has used these opportunities to push issues that she cares about deeply, such as the one that she's raised today. And I think she's been a thorough credit as the stand-in leader of the Labour Party, and I thank her for what she has done. On the issue of trafficking of women and girls, this is extremely important and sensitive and difficult issue. I myself have been to see some of the exhibitions run, including by Emma Thompson, of how bad this problem is, and we are committed to working across the government to do everything we can to help the police, to help at our borders, and to make sure we have all the laws and systems in place to bring this evil trade to an end. It is something, tragically, that has grown over recent years, and we often talk about how we've ended slavery in our world. We haven't. It's still with us, and this is the worst manifestation of it.
Harriet Harman.
Well, I thank the Prime Minister for his complimentary words to me. It's just as well I'm not wearing a hoodie today. I welcome... You wouldn't like that. I welcome what he said about human trafficking, and I'm grateful to the Prime Minister and also to the Deputy Prime Minister for working with us on this when they were in opposition. Can I ask the Prime Minister to help build on that work by agreeing that the United Kingdom will opt in to the new European Directive on trafficking in human beings, which the Commission proposed in March this year?
Thank you for raising that. We are looking carefully at this issue. What we've discovered so far from looking at the directive is that it doesn't go any further in terms of the law that we've already passed. We put everything in place that is in that directive. I'm very happy to go away and look again. Of course, with all of the issues that we have to look at opting into, you have to ask yourself not only what is in this directive and are we already doing it, to which the answer in this case is yes, but also what could be the consequences for our security and our borders and our ability to make these decisions in this House as well. That is the consideration that we have to make, and I make absolutely no apologies for saying in this government we will look at these things very carefully before signing them.
Harriet Harman.
But the difficulty is, Mr. Speaker, that they've already indicated that they're going to opt out of the directive. Now, if we're already complying with it in our laws and practices in this country, and if we're working internationally, we should be proud of that and we should step forward and sign the directive. Will he reconsider that?
I'd already answered that point, but there are some additional points. First of all, the directive itself is still being finalised. That is one. Secondly, there are opportunities at any stage to opt into something that you approve of. But the key point here is you have to examine the directive and ask, does opting in add anything to what we already do in this vital area? And it does. Honourable Members say yes. The fact is, if you look at it today, we do all the things that are in the directive. You then have to ask the question, will we in any way endanger our borders and our immigration system by doing so? That is a question a responsible government ought to ask, and it's a question this government will ask.
Harriet Harman.
But he's hanging back on this. He should step forward and sign it. The whole point about this is that trafficking is an international crime. The traffickers work across borders, so we have to work across borders to stop them. Will he reconsider and opt into the directive?
Well, I've answered the question. The fact is you do have to work internationally. We are working internationally, and we're also making sure here in the UK we've got what we need at our borders and in our police service. We're also looking at something which the last government didn't do, which is a proper border police force, which will make a real difference to securing our border. But as I say, it is right always to look at these directives and ask not just are we doing the things that are already in that directive, but what could be the other consequences of signing up? Very, very sensible thing to do. The last government signed far too many things without ever thinking about what the consequences were.
Harriet Harman.
Well, I'm disappointed by the Prime Minister's answer. I know that some of his party are irrationally hostile to Europe, but he should not let them stand in the way of stopping human trafficking. Mr. Speaker, just one last question before I go. When the Conservatives were in opposition, they regularly complained about the fact that Prime Minister's question is only once a week. Now that the Prime Minister knows just how enjoyable the experience is, does he plan to bring it back to twice a week?
It is actually one of the few things that Tony Blair did that I thoroughly approve of. I actually think, quite seriously, having worked for leaders of the opposition who did Prime Minister's questions, having worked for Prime Ministers who did Prime Minister's questions, I think actually once a week to have a half-hour session where it's not only good for Parliament to grill the Prime Minister, but it's good for the Prime Minister to grill everyone in his or her own office and find out everything that's going on in the government. I think that is the right way to do these things. In terms of, I know we're not saying goodbye to the Honourable Lady, it's only au revoir, and she will be the Deputy Leader under whatever leader they elect, and I note that she can spend some time over the coming days contemplating what to do with, I think, the 4 votes that she has in this election, because, of course, she's a member of a trade union, a member of Parliament, a member of the Labour Party and a member of the Fabian Society, and combined with her husband, I believe he has another 3 votes. So that is... democracy is a beautiful thing.